Hey, folks, Budget Bachelor Bill here, coming at you Sunday, June 13th, 2021. Hope you've had a terrific day to this point. It's definitely bright and sunny where I'm at, and it's up to you to make that day that way from the time you get out of bed and hit that device up on your countertop or away from arm's length uh, through to the end of the day. Make it productive, make it fun, make it kind to other people. And to initiate that, you kind of start your day off with colors and then maybe a nice breakfast. And it's Sunday, so as always for me, and what I recommended a few videos back, some kind of participation in a community service, either an organization, an event, in my case a church, whatever your faith may be. Find some event you can participate in that is a very happy experience for you. Maybe a venue that you go to that keeps you happy. We're in the post-pandemic stage, so I'm taking a turn as the pandemic's taken a turn. It is now post-pandemic daily doses of positivity. So that will be the themes and the title moving forward, because we are out of this now essentially, minus restaurants and hospitality workers, some office workers still, depending on individual, both public and private organizations. So I want to bring up my red, white, and blue for colors today to start off. My baseball team, still doing outstanding. They've got the St. Louis Cardinals in town. They've just won a couple of games. I think they're actually in the third game, but they were doing, there, I was trying to do that without looking back. They're doing great, the Cubs. So I'm very happy with that. Baseball has such an America theme. So coast to coast, no matter where you are, it's just baseball is America, and the foundations of it are American. People come from all races, nationalities, colors, sizes to play baseball here, and it's such a great time because it's sunny and nice, and the ballparks are beautiful, with the concessions great, and offering us a beer and the crowds. No politics involved whatsoever, which is always a great thing. And that's the way it was pre-pandemic for sure, for centuries. So it's just good all around, on top of having an outstanding team. And not to discriminate, the Southside team, the White Sox, are also doing great. And that's good news. A lot of crossover with the residents here in this city, have Southside ties, have Northside ties. Some Southsiders move north and then they move back south, that type of thing. Anyway, both the Cubs and the White Sox are doing great, and great people, and it's bringing people together unbelievably so, in a trying time where it's very necessary to do that to get back to normalcy. Okay, so wanted to bring that up for starters. Wilson has been doing this all day. That's his way, kind of like a pet, of telling you either they're hungry or they're upset. So he's upset, and I'll tell you why. It's 80 or 90 degrees, folks. So I recommended many videos ago hydration. Water, lemonade, Powerade, Gatorade, some drink that will hydrate you and keep you hydrated. They recommend, just the old slogan, 7 or 8 glasses of water per day, and a water bottle will accomplish that. But it's always good to have something like this. Last week, it was kind of a scary story. After Mass, I go to a group lunch with people often, and one of my friends from that group passed out in his lunch tray. And about a dozen or so times for past roles and security, I had the situation. There's urgency here. So he passed out when he was eating his lunch, just out of the blue. He even had like water or some drink. He had maybe a gyro or something like that, and fries, but had a busy day before and didn't hydrate. So he passed out and maybe even wasn't breathing for a little bit. His eyes rolled in the back of his head. And I had to immediately alert the management of both a restaurant and a business that was nearby to call the medics. They came in a swift fashion, and did all sorts of tests on him, gave him some fluids, some alertness tests, and then we were in the hospital ER for about 3 hours. Long story short, he had intravenous fluids put in him, some suction cups, and it was not pretty, but he's fine after 2 or 3 hours at the emergency room. So again, keep hydrated, folks. It's really hot out there. It's very important. Make sure you do this. It's so simple, but you still have to be cognizant of it. And we're busy people. We're doing a lot of things, and we're not always thinking that way. Please do it. All right, so I'm going to marinate. This is on the table. This is hand sanitizer. Won't this be reduced now? I'm going to marinate Wilson in this, just to, shower him, to clean him up. He's been busy stirring my coffee, and so now he needs some sanitizer, because I got to find some use of these bottles. They're just going to sit around more now, now that the pandemic is over, but maybe more people, I'm sure, will start carrying them regularly. All right, so I'm going to get into a couple of happy photographs today, stories related to those. Of course, that's up to you to customize those, but some photographs, maybe you get them on eBay. I've had these over the years. I frame some of them, just things that are really meaningful to me, to give me positivity in my day. So there's things like that, like photographs, items that 100% of the time are going to give you happiness. And how are those bad for your day? They're not. They're not ever bad for your day. If they give you nothing but happiness, sometimes they're a defense mechanism against something that's gone wrong, maybe in your day. So that's kind of a theme and a point of some of my items, and you find items like that to customize for yourself that way. So photographs on that note. I got Jack Nicklaus in the background there with the McDonald's book. People know by now that those keep me happy. I find a great photo I used to put up of Jack Nicklaus. Here's a man I've started following. I was a late bloomer playing golf. I didn't play until my mid to late 20s, and he was one of my main inspirations, because he was just so popular, and he was still playing so well even into his 60s. And then he stopped playing and got on the senior tour and won all sorts of tournaments there. But from this, I want to take away other stories, because there's so many facets of life outside of golf that he started participating in. He had, the discretionary income to do it. Obviously, he took care of his friends, or his family, and then his friends first with that, like we all do, or we all try to do. But then he started building golf courses and starting foundations for children, and all these other community service events. So these are all great, and he's such an inspiration from the starting point of golf through these other facets of life to follow for everybody. So you can find an own figure. Jack Nicklaus was definitely one for me, even though golf was a distant second for me to tennis. Unfortunately, I can't play golf anymore, but I still am an enthusiast for sure. And Jack played with Arnold Palmer, rest in peace, and Gary Player, and they were just such a good springboard men for the entire game, both men and women. All right. Jimmy Connors, told you about him already. I know basically his bio from following, and him being bigger than Michael Jordan to me. Just one story I'll share with him. This is how big Jimmy's heart is. He played, I think it was against Mats Wilander, and it's on a ESPN bio that's on YouTube about Jimmy Connors, that he played so tough and so hard, even in practice. So he'd be hitting a practice session, and the story was that after a 45-minute or an hour session, Mats looked across the net at him, and he just was huffing and puffing, and hair just flying all over the place. And he ended up having to need an oxygen mask on the sideline, and his opponent was like, "What is going on here? We're just having a hitting session for an exhibition. It's not even an important tournament. It's not one of the big Grand Slams." And that just shows you about this man's heart for the game and his passion for playing tough. He's such an entertainer. Love him or hate him, he was entertaining, and he was outstanding for the game. And some long-standing records that maybe not, won't ever be broken. Roger Federer is approaching 40s when Jimmy ended his career, and they should have a long conversation about what's going on and how Jimmy maybe changed his game in his later years to stay around more. I think it would be a great relationship. So there's Jimmy. Common theme. You guys know that by now.
All right.
And then two more. This is just quickly a jockey from Arlington Park, which I said was closing. There was an Arlington Million out there, a fun tournament. It's such a beautiful facility with greenery and flowers, and the venue itself with the white and the pristine, everything around it is so clean. The men in sharp dressed and polo khakis and suits, and the ladies in beautiful hats and dresses. There's nothing that doesn't scream like fun about this place. And it's only got one more season, and it's very sad to me. This is a jockey named Pat Day. He just wrote a simple passage, Jesus loves you, John 3:16. He became holy after he became like an alcoholic and had some downtime in his life, and then he came back and won some very big races. And his nickname was Sit Still Pat. This is kind of a fun story. He always sat in the back of the pack of horses, to where the other jockeys were like, oh, he's way out of it. Who cares about him? He sucks, whatever. And then suddenly, at the very end of the race, he shot out like a cannon and took over the race and beat all the other horses from like the back of the pack. So they called him Sit Still Pat. He was boring, maybe made some friction with other jockeys, probably did, but overall just a great jockey and a really nice person who, you know, reincarnated himself after he found God and was down with the alcoholism, and then came back and won some very big races. So Pat Day was his name. And then finally, on the Arlington theme, one of my favorite horses, and this guy was very small. His name was Smarty Jones. He raced in the 2000s, and he was a real fun horse to watch. Just a heart of gold, not a big heart physically, but a big heart figuratively, and won some big races against horses he had no business, probably horses a few hundred pounds heavier than he was, and stronger, but just a heart, kind of like a Seabiscuit that way. And he won 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. I think it was 2004. And just, if you want to YouTube his races, they're a lot of fun to watch. And it was just a very small horse against very large horses. Secretariat, to give you an idea, was 17 hands. They measure the hoof size. The picture went down, the hoof size in hands. They call it hands. And Secretariat was 17 hands. Another horse in history named Man o' War was 18 hands. Smarty Jones here, 13 hands. So it gave you a difference of, it gives you an idea of the size difference. So anyway, these are great photos, and I used to have them framed, and just happy times for that particular year of my life. And those have carried on because they're happy memories. And what's the theme of my videos? Happiness, one of them. All right. So lastly, I'm going to end with the budget item, and I keep seeing this pop up on video ads. There's some word of mouth about it, but not much. It's usually on some kind of YouTube ad that I pull up, or Google. Is a portable air conditioner. I've got my fan going right now. I've got my wall unit going right now. This little portable air conditioner supposedly heats like it cools a 200 to 600 square foot area in your place, and it's about $50 to $100, so you can get multiple ones and still save a lot of money over what your monthly central air or wall unit air conditioning bill will be for ComEd or People's Energy or whatever service you have. So those portable ACs will save you money for $50 to $100 versus, you know, thousands of dollars a month in AC or central AC bills. And they're online. You can research them. There's probably several makes and models, but they take the warm air and then they spit out cold air with probably either cold water or ice in between them. And some of them are more effective than others. You know maybe the manufacturers you like. I certainly know the ones I like. So I kind of read into the manufacturer, maybe read a few reviews. Yelp, Consumer Reports is always very good. And they might have something like that. And Consumer Reports, you know, it's not 50 or 100 people they pool. It's thousands of people. So that's pretty reliable to me. Assuming they're telling the truth, which I think they are, because that would be a copyright infringement, or not that, but it would be like lying to the public. Consumer Reports to me has always been very good for cars, air conditioners, coffee makers, things of that nature. So, folks, it's Sunday. I'm going to get to a meal very shortly here. I had my mass, my community service, had my outdoor time. I take care of some back stuff that always creeps in about this time of day. Take care of yourself. Be good to others. Find some happiness in your life. Find some budget. Please like or subscribe to my videos moving forward. I do these for you. I want to help you. I want to keep you happy. I want to keep you budgeted. Maybe some insightful things along the way that weren't in your common sense repertoire before that maybe popped in now. So take care of yourself, folks, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and have a terrific day. Make it a terrific day.